Hello and welcome to Empowering Voices. My name is Morris Adams, your host for Empowering Voices. Empowering Voices is a special program where we bring what's going on in your community into your living room. Today we have an amazing guest, Dr. K, and he's going to fill us in on some special information. But before we talk about the reason why Dr. Kwanzaa has come into our guest, I just want to get a little feel for him. I want him to first introduce yourself, sir.
Sure. I'm Dr. Tayari Kawanda, as you mentioned. I am a career educator and a philanthropist, and I own a television production company and a podcast. I do quite a bit, but my passion is serving the community. So I utilize all of those resources to really serve the community.
Serve the community. Let's start there. When you say serve the community, what does serve the community mean?
Well, I take an approach where I look at the community where I am and the greater community. And when I see that there is a need, I do my best to fulfill it. So does that mean tutoring services? Does that mean scholarships for students? Does that mean showing up and volunteering time or creating spaces for voices that are not heard? So that idea of serving is really, I utilize it as an umbrella to be whatever it needs to be at any particular time based upon what I'm able to do. And fortunately, blessedly, over the years, I've been able to do quite a bit um, in every community that I've been in.
Okay, now give me those things that you said you did before. What are those that you said you do a podcast?
Oh, sure. Well, I was saying I'm a career educator. I've taught history for about 20 years, and I'm a professor of education at a local private university. But I do have a podcast, a weekly podcast. It's called Let's Chew the Gum, and you can hear that wherever podcasts are downloaded. And an offshoot of that actually became I have a film and media production company, a television channel where I stream content on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Vita TV, so pretty much all around the world. And even that television channel, that outlet, has been something that I've utilized to help individuals to have their voices heard through their content, through their contributions to film and media. And so I've utilized that as an opportunity for others. Yes, sir.
Okay, I like what you just said, and I'm sure there's somebody in our audience that liked what you just said. And I'm just going to invite them to get to know Dr. Kawanda, get to know him because these are things that come out of you because they get to know you, that you can bring something out of, or as you said, let their voice be heard. I like that. I like that. I want
Absolutely.
to ask you a question. Education, you said you're an educator. My question is, would you say education is what enabled you to work with the community, or was it education that made you see the needs that are not being addressed in the community?
Well, I would say I utilize education to create a larger platform to be able to expand what I've always been doing since I was a child. In high school, and when I was a high school student, I was the guy who took my nephews and nieces to their parent-teacher conferences. I'm just 16, 17, right? When I was younger in the military, wherever I was stationed, I would go and volunteer in local high schools to tutor. And so this idea of education not only was it an opportunity for me to expand my career, but also to help me elevate social structures to be able to expand what it is that I've always done from my heart.
I like that. I like to say it this way: when you make a difference in someone's life, you make a difference in the world because
How about that?
everybody impacts the world. And that's what you're telling me. You make differences in someone's life. Now,
We
that's
do our best.
again, I, I want to, you just said it, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to address it a little bit different. I'm just going to pigeonhole it. What is your greatest motivation? What
My
motivates you?
greatest, sure. My greatest motivation is seeing other people succeed. It's a great feeling. Is it a selfish, personal feeling that I get? I don't look at it that way. But my greatest motivation is really just helping others altruistically, just being there to serve someone else, without the expectation of anything in return. I believe that, as the saying goes, to those who have been given much, much is required. And I've had people help me along the way. And so, how dare I not help anyone and everyone that I can, when I'm able to? And so that truly is my motivation. I get a real kick out of seeing others see their dreams and their desires come to fruition in reality.
Isn't that a good feeling? I mean, isn't that a good feeling when
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
see someone who had a dream and they can realize it, they can live it, they can touch it? That's a good feeling. And I'm
absolutely.
thankful for people such as you who can direct people, help people, assist people to be able to realize there's something inside of you and they can live it, they can see it. Now, now here comes this is the I love asking this question
Okay.
because I get to talk to you and talk about you at the same time. Uh, the question that I have is, I just asked you what is your greatest motivation, and you told me. Now I want to say, is there somebody in the background motivating you? Is there somebody in the background? Do you have a mentor, somebody that when you need to be coddled, when you need to be held, when you need to be structured, that is talking to you, cheering you on? Is there somebody in your background that gives you that rah rah? You can do it. You can do it.
Sure. And there's been a slew of individuals throughout my life. Early on, obviously, influence from my mother, brothers and sisters, of course, that have kind of helped that to be inborn in me. I can think of a few high school teachers that kind of had that influence on me. There was a Cub Scout leader when I was a kid, and he didn't have to do this, but he would come and check on me and pick me up and take me to the house with his sons and treated me as such. Take me to the movies and fed me just like his own kid. And so I never forgot that. When I was 14 or 15, there was a group at my high school in Detroit, Cooley High School. Shout out to Cooley High School in Detroit. That was called 12 Together, and it was a program that was designed for at-risk youth to kind of give them an opportunity to not only express themselves, but to have mentors. So there were 10 students and two mentors. And so those types of things have always motivated me, again, to give back. And currently, obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't say my wife, right? So she's always there to let me know that I can do it, even though sometimes she thinks I do too much, which I might. But there's never a situation where she doesn't encourage me and support me to be myself, right?
Yes. I heard a slogan one time and it said, miracles come in cans, not in cannots.
How about
And
that?
and that's what you're saying, and that's what your wife is saying, and that's what the cheerleaders, the people in your background are saying. You can do it. And that's what you're saying when you're telling people you can do it. I like this. I like it. Now, I have one other question before I go into the reason why I brought you into the studio, I think this will help us broaden things up a little bit. Working with the public can sometimes have great rewards. We talked about some of them. It can have great rewards working with the publics, but also we know that it can come with some great challenges. And working with the public sometimes you're up against the wall, or you're being pressed, or you're being tested, or stretched. And I want to ask, when you're up against the wall, what keeps you going? What keeps you from? I mean, see, the programs that we're going to talk about, they need to be out there in the community, and they can disappear. They can evaporate. But we need someone who says, I'm sticking in no matter what the challenge. So I'm asking you, when you get challenged, what keeps you going?
Well, I think what keeps me going is the idea and the understanding that I've had to keep going before in the past. And it's like I explain to my students a lot. When you're going through challenges, life is going to life all the time. But when you have evidence that you've overcome something, no matter what it was, a small goal, large goal, when you've overcome something and you know, have gone through the challenges and you've had success, I always tell them to hold on to that, because down the road, there'll be more challenges. And when it seems like you can't, you're tired, you don't want to go on, you can reflect back to say, you know what? I was down before. There were some challenges before. So if I did it once, I can do it again. Right? Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but lots of things aren't easy. It's just the fact that you know that you can do it again. And so, that's something that's near and dear to me, that I sort of wear as a plate of armor across me, to understand that, hey, life is going to keep lifing. You've been through things before, you've had success, so you can replicate it. And that's very encouraging to me.
Yeah, I love this. Life is going to keep life, and I like that. What you just said brings me a little reflection back. My mom is my great cheerleader inside me. I was I had 4 term papers to do. I hadn't started any of them, and it was the night before they were due, and they all were so many pages that they had to be done. And I just know I'm just gonna wash out. This is over. It's over. And my mom said, "You can, you will, and you shall." And she said, "Just start writing." When I finished in the morning, I had 4 term papers.
Wow.
That was amazing to me, and I got good grades on them.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And that told me that there's something in you. If you've got to listen to those voices so that you don't give up when the world is telling you it's okay to give. No, it was not okay to give up. You
Right.
gotta. So I thank you for that statement there. Now I want to go into something. I think the reason why we came into meeting each other and to this conference here. Let me ask one more question. I got a question that I got to ask before I go there.
Sure.
What advice would you give to someone entering into community service? If somebody said, I'm thinking about being doing what you do, I'm thinking about going into community service and helping people, what advice would you give them?
Well, I would tell them to make sure that they don't become easily discouraged when doors close, or if you find that folks that you want to partner with may not be able to partner with you, or folks don't understand who you are. You have to remain true to yourself, and keep your light shining. If it has to shine brighter than everyone else's, keep shining. Don't compare yourself to other folks. You compete against yourself each day. It's not about what someone else is doing or how much they have. If it's your true mission and true goal, if it's your true heartfelt desire to serve, then you'll do that. And so if you can keep that in mind, to I say this a lot. There's many ways up a mountain. If the goal is to get to the top of the mountain, some folks will go straight up, no problem. Some may go round and pause and have to sit, and then they get up later. Some will zigzag up and down, up and down. But if you get to the top, you've met the goal. No one said it had to be done like everyone else. So get to the top of the mountain and run your own race.
I like it. This is wonderful. And as you were talking, I'm sure everybody was doing what I was doing. They were visualizing, they were seeing what it was you were saying. Now I want to do this. I want you to give everybody a visualization of an up and coming event. You've got an up and coming event, and it's something that when I looked into it, I don't see anybody who couldn't be benefited from it. I see everybody could come, someone that can get some benefit out of what it is that you're doing. But I want you to introduce it. What is this event that you want to produce or present to the public?
Sure. Well, I'm so excited about it. Um, I've come together and partnered with Victor Valley College Outreach, my nonprofit SCORE. SCORE stands for Securing Communities of Racial Equity, first of all. And it's all about eradicating racism, whether it's in schools and public places, businesses, and to really educate. And it's not so much about educating where racism, we have to always talk about racism. It's just exhibiting how individuals can work together to achieve any particular goal. And so when you have that visual of folks, I don't care if they're Black, white, brown, Puerto Rican, Asian, any persuasion, when you have that visual, young, old, working together, I think to me that epitomizes the idea that racism should be obsolete. And so that's the nonprofit. But a few years back, racism was declared a public health crisis by San Bernardino County and maybe the state of California, a few other places. And so it was high on my list because I was already working in that field to say, hey, we need to really focus on this and bring folks together and help them to understand, right? And so this community health fair was born of that, to be able to focus on issues of health in communities. But like many other things, it goes beyond just one community. Healthcare is something that's beneficial for all. And so this health fair is really about coming together, having an excellent time, providing opportunities for folks young and old. If you're a child, there's bounce houses and things you can do. We are offering scholarships for students that attend. We have a teen talk and walk where teens can go around and become connected to other nonprofits and organizations. We have fitness activities and exercises. So it's really holistic, mind, body, and soul, right? Whether it's mental health, physical health, emotional health. I just wanted to bring folks together so that folks could see what type of offerings there are in the community and how we can really come together and sort of redefine the way we think about a health fair. So lots of fun, lots of food, lots of partnering. And so that was the idea behind it. Let's create a space. Let's create a space to have these conversations. And so there'll be a women's health panel where women, just women, right? So I facilitated, but I'm out of the way. Just women will be able to talk and discuss issues that they care about or that they're concerned about. Then there's a men's health panel also that'll be occurring. We have some comedians, right? Because we need laughter, right? Laughter is one of the great medicines in life. And so a comedian friend of mine is going to perform. We have a songstress that's going to perform. We have an athletic trainer and instructor that's going to be there throughout the day, providing tips on corrective exercise, on just fun exercise. And so it's really all inclusive. We're even going to have a DJ, right? There'll be some singing and dancing. So again, it's a way for the community to come out and have some fun, experience some good food, experience and lots of free items, right? There'll be free medical checkups, health checkups. There'll be dental supplies that are out there. If folks want COVID shots, there'll be COVID shots. The San Bernardino Department of Public Health has come on board to provide that. We have Providence St. Mary's has come on board to provide some services. We have Target's going to be there volunteering and lots of even a counseling service, mental health services. So there's a lot of people that are approaching this from different aspects to understand that when we say health, we're not just talking about exercising, right? I'm not in the best shape, but I understand and appreciate the idea of health. And so I think this comes as a great time also because, right, it's still February, it's January, right? The event is February 3rd, but folks are always making the New Year's resolution. So this is a time to come together and possibly make some resolution with groups to get some support from others and look at some things from different perspectives that maybe you hadn't before. And there's quite a few other participants that I didn't even name yet. It's just going to be fun, man. I'm excited. There's going to be an art display, visual health. I mean, there's a lot going on there that people can come out. So we want to make sure that the information is out there and folks can come and really take advantage of this opportunity for the free items, for the good food, and for a great time.
Wow. So let me get this right. SCORE, Victor Valley College, and then it was another organization.
Sure. So it's SCORE, my nonprofit, and then Victor Valley College Outreach Department, the Outreach Department of Victor Valley College, which they do community outreach. I've partnered with them and the Victor Valley College Black Student Union. So together, we're presenting this health fair, and it should be really exciting.
Now, let me give you. So these are basics. Who should attend and who can attend? Is there an age limit?
No, and in fact, on the flyer, you'll see there's a stamp that said all ages welcome. And I did that on purpose. I didn't want there to be any situation where there's individuals who could not attend this health fair. And so I purposely had things for young kids to do, young babies, right? Things for teenagers, a resting space for elderly who may want to kind of just sit down and rest during the health fair. So you can bring the whole family and be assured that there'll be something entertaining, something beneficial, something educational, and something fun for everyone. So there's no one that can attend, no age limit.
Now, here's an amazing thing. All too often, I mean, we're going to tell somebody, listen, I got this fantastic event that's happening. And one of the things that happened, I just found this to be the case because of some of the people I talked to, they immediately start trying to determine if they can go. The people who have special needs, And
Mhm.
they're wondering, is there going to be access route for me? Can I get there? Am I going to be excluded? Because nobody wants to get ready to go into a building and have that embarrassment of not being able to go because of a limitation that they have. So
Sure.
I heard you say that you're going to have counseling there. And then I looked at the location. Could you give us the location? Where is it going to be?
Sure, it's going to be held on the campus of Victor Valley College. And it's interesting that you brought up the idea of access because I had some other locations in mind, and after reviewing them, I kind of determined or realized that it's not the most accessible, whether you folks had to go through dirt to get in, and that's not really accessible for folks in wheelchairs or folks who may have issues with stability while walking. So I targeted Victor Valley College because it is accessible. You know, wide spaces if folks are in wheelchairs. There's folks that'll be there, even folks that are doing sign language, right? So if you need interpreters, sign language interpretations, it's accessible. And so that's really important to me. And even you know, through my nonprofit, or I'm speaking of this from the professor standpoint when I'm teaching folks that are going to be teachers. I always talk about access, access. We have to make sure and be considerate of having our lessons accessible. And I always say, if you design lessons or if you design your projects to with folks in mind who may not have access to it, then it's going to be a great lesson for everyone. So that was a huge part of it. Let's make sure it's accessible. And again, just my experience of growing up, you know, I have had kids and whatnot, and I've been through that situation with elderly folks. And I'm like, no, man, we don't want any reason why folks can't come out and enjoy this event. It should be for everybody. I mean, it's a community, right? And the community is inclusive. And so that's what it's about.
You can't imagine how many shoulders just went to relaxing when you said what you said. It's accessible to all and by all. I'm going to ask the question here. What does, and I appreciate you for bringing that out, you know, because there are so many people who actually can rest now because we're talking about a great event and they now know they can attend. There's nothing blocking them and stopping them from getting there. So the question I have is, what does a health fair do for a community? I mean,
Sure.
I know the benefit of it for me, but what does it do for a community? Let's say everybody came out. What does it do for a community?
Sure. Well, I'll say and speak from the point of view of what this health fair brings to the community, because I'm not sure that all health fairs are the same. I've been to some where you go and there's folks providing services and you can get some information and supplies. But with this one, again, I wanted to have to create it to be dynamic, right? And so the first thing the health fair does is to bring the community together. I think the
Ah,
second thing that it does, and a part of the health panels, is to have dialogue between folks so that folks will be understanding and have empathy for others who may be going through situations that they're not. Maybe there's these things you haven't considered. And so I think anytime that you can bring people together to talk, to communicate, and to exchange information, I think that it enriches a community. And so that's what this is about. And again, going back to the idea of folks of all ages. You know, I don't know. Do you go there and you're a young family, and then you see another young family, and you exchange information, and you find these resources, and now your kids are somehow in a sports group together, or softball team, right? There'll be a sports foundation there that provides access to sporting activities. So again, it brings the community together. It provides awareness and information, health supplies, and so it's all about giving back and providing a space for everyone.
wow, I really appreciate that. It was my you answered three questions with one roll because I wanted to know what was the advantage of having a health fair in your backyard. And boy, I tell you, you said you wanted it to be dynamic, and it actually brings the community together. I'm liking that.
Yeah.
I think I have just one more question, and then and that would be, how many people do you want to attend this health fair?
Oh wow. Sure. You know, there's no limit to the number, right? Obviously, the resources may be capped at a certain spot, but you know, I would hope that, you know, let's be realistic. If 1,000 people show up, it's great. right? Throughout the day. It's from 10 to 3. If we get 1,000 people, that's fantastic. If we get 500, that's about the target that we're looking at, 500 people throughout the day. If 250 show up, that's fantastic also. Ultimately, whoever shows up is going to have an experience, I think, and I don't want to use so much hyperbole. I was going to say an experience of a lifetime, but I would say potential life-changing opportunity, right? Because maybe you haven't accessed some of these resources. Perhaps you didn't know that these resources were in your community, or individuals were in your community providing the resources. Many of them are free, right? And so I think that whoever shows up is who's supposed to show up. And with all the goodness that has gone into it, I cannot foresee that it wouldn't be successful.
I'm going to say something here, and it's my belief that every person knows at least 35 people. And if you see something as beneficial to you, some of that 35 is going to get part of that conversation. In events such as this, it would be nice not to have to be told, this is where I went. It'd be nice if they told them, come and go with me.
Absolutely.
Take some of your 35 with you so you can enjoy it together. Enjoy it together.
Okay? Absolutely. Love that.
So that's my hope, is that everybody takes control over their future by attending an event that helps them have greater health so they can have a future. That's my goal. That's the reason why I wanted you to come on, because I know a lot of us, we're moving through life and we get a hiccup. We need someone to tell us where the hiccup came from and how to get rid of it. And the health fair will do that. I said that to say this: if all the things that are offered at the health fair were, if you had to go and find a service for them individually, your wallet would go thin. So,
absolutely,
yeah, because your wallet would go thin. I just looked at the one event, a health screening. And I remember being in a health food store, and there was a health screening professional there. And I just asked the price, and it was in the $250 range. I said, wow, that's how much it costs to screen?
Right.
And so now, and when I saw it on the paper here, free health screening, I said, I hope the people come out, and I hope that they just throng you. I hope they overwhelm this event. And because sometimes you need to know, and that's what you're doing, trying to help us to know.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd be thrilled if I was overwhelmed that day. That would be a good problem to have.
Well, let me say it this way. I want to thank you, Dr. Kwanzaa. Dr. K is what I call you, for coming on Empowering Voices, and let me thank everyone in my audience for stopping in and getting a taste of what it feels like to be empowered. And then I want to drop one more comment, one more thought. Until the next time, I want to say, if there's someone out there in the audience who would like to attend this health fair, if there's someone in the audience who says, there may be something in it for me, if there's someone in the audience who's saying, I would really like to go, I'm going to say this to you. If you place more pressure on the things that you want to do than the things that are opposing you from doing them, you're going to do it. You have to place more pressure on what you want to do, more pressure than what's stopping you from doing what you want to do. If you place more pressure on what you want to do, you'll end up doing it. So if you want to attend this health fair, put a little pressure on it. Put a little pressure on it. Thank you, Dr. Kwanzaa, for coming in. Thank you
so much. I appreciate it. Just want to give a reminder to folks again. It is February the 3rd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the campus of Victor Valley College, Building 44. That's the Student Activity Center. We look forward to having you guys there. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Thank you for empowering our audience. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you much.